Hello and welcome to another CBits Tech video, and welcome to my little hi-fi corner. There will be links in the description box to the videos where I picked up this hi-fi unit and a batch of cassettes which included this cassette. And when I got it out of the box I noticed there was tape on it. Here's an extract from that video. We've got a bit sticky tape on this one. What's going on? Oh, I think the case is broken. After shooting a video I realised that it wasn't taped up because the box had broken. I think it was a hack that the previous owner of this hi-fi system had used, and it relates to a useful feature on this hi-fi. So let me show you that feature. There's going to be some continuity problems with this video because I'm now shooting this part of the video about 2 weeks after shooting the first part, but it turned out the first part was utter rubbish. So I'm going to abandon all those clips and show you this feature here, and then later on we'll be flicking back to the original video to show you something else. So you may remember that this free hi-fi came with a load of free cassettes, and those cassettes contained albums with many songs on the cassette and also cassette singles. So back in the day what you might get is you might get a vinyl single which was 7 inches big, and on one side you'd have the main track, the one that typically got into the charts, and on the other side was a track that wasn't quite so good, but the artist and the record company would put it on the B side, so you had an A side and a B side. Similarly with cassette singles, you typically got 1 or 2 tracks on the side 1 of the cassette, side A. In this case it's Sleeping Satellite followed by Sleeping Satellite acoustic version, and then quite often you get the same on side B. Sometimes you get a remix or something like that, but in most cases you get exactly the same on side A and side B. So now I'm going to describe the feature on this cassette deck, on this twin cassette deck, which is useful especially for cassette singles. You've got this reverse mode here, and when you press it the light comes on, that means it's engaged, and when you take it off the light goes off. And the cassette decks function in a different way depending on whether the light is on or off. Okay, so we've got all our cassette singles lined up and we just want to play side 1 of each cassette. So first of all we're going to, at the beginning of this, we're going to play this one. This one's going to get played from the beginning of side 1. We're going to listen to our tracks. It's going to get to the end of side 1 on this deck. And watch what happens when it gets to the end of side 1. Now what it's doing is rewinding this cassette. We finished with this cassette, we've watched the whole of, we've listened to the whole of side 1. Meanwhile, what it's done is it's automatically started this cassette. So now we're listening to side 1 of this cassette. So this one now has finished rewinding, so we can take this one out, put in our next cassette single. We don't have to press play or anything, and watch what happens when we get to the end of this cassette. Excellent. I finally got the timing right, and it is now rewinding the end of this cassette while it's playing our next cassette. And we can just keep going like that each time, changing the cassette which has just been rewound, and then listen to a whole batch of cassette singles on side 1 only. Right, so moving on, we're going to change this into auto reverse mode here, and this is designed for when you have when you want to play some mixtapes or some albums. In this case this is a double album, and we've got side 1, side 2, side 3 and side 4, but we're not going to use these. We're going to use these ones because they're easier to see in the windows. Okay, so we've got reverse mode on, don't forget, and these are our mixtapes or our albums. And imagine we've been playing this from the beginning of side 1 and it's got near to the end of side 1. Watch what happens when it gets to the end of side 1. So what it's done, it's got to the end of side 1 on this cassette and is automatically playing side 2 of this cassette. So it's going to play all of side 1 and all of side 2, and watch what happens when it gets to the end of side 2. Okay, so what's happened now is it's got through all of side 1 and all of side 2 on this cassette, and now it's automatically playing side 1 on this cassette. Now at this point we've played the whole of this cassette, side 1 and side 2, so we're going to want to take that out, and we're going to go to our next mixtape or our next album and cue that ready, and then watch what happens when we get to end of side 1 on this cassette. Brilliant, so it's got to the end of side 1 on this cassette, and now it is playing side 2 on this cassette. So what we've done so far is we've played all of side 1 and side 2 on the original cassette, and now we've played all of side 1 and we're playing side 2 of this cassette. And guess what's going to happen when it gets to the end of this one? When it gets to the end of this one, because we put a new cassette into this one, it's going to play side 1 and side 2 of this cassette and give us a chance to put another cassette in there. So by swapping these cassettes over, you're able to continuously play all of side 1 and 2 on one, all of side 1 and 2 on the other, and then carry on swapping the tapes over and listen all day. And I use this feature quite a lot. I've got a whole set of mixtapes which are on a particular theme, about 8 or 10 of them, and I can just put the first couple of cassettes in this hi-fi, and it will play side 1 and 2 and then side 1 and 2 all the way through. And while this is still playing side 2, typically I'll put a replacement in side 1 there, and that's ready to play the next cassette in the long series of mixtapes. So it's a really useful feature, and now we're going to go back to the original recording just for a few minutes and take a look at the tape on this cassette box. So let's have a look at this. Let's figure out why this has been taped up. I thought it was one box, a double cassette box, which has been taped up because it's broken, but it's not. It's actually two individual cassette boxes. So what I'm going to do is just replace the tape on here for demonstration purposes. Okay, so I'll put more tape on this box now. I'll replace the tape on all four sides, and if you don't like seeing cassette tapes being mistreated, then you might want to skip the next 10 or 20 seconds of this video. So the first time I got this box out and I wanted to play side 1, I was walking along the room and I just lifted this part up, and the cassette fell out of the other side. And I thought, that's weird, has it got some sort of gearing mechanism on it? And what I figured out, it's not, it's this tape. He taped them both together. I don't know whether this was, I can't imagine why you would tape two together unless it was just a coincidence. But what it is when you open one, the other one opens up as well. And the reason for that is the tape that is on this. There's one piece of tape that spans both sides of these two cassette boxes. And when you lift up one, it pivots there, and this side of it goes in. And because they're taped together, the other side of it goes in as well. So the action of this cassette moving down and pivoting in also pivots this one in, because the tape is connected. Now whether he knew that would to be the case and that's why he stuck them together, I don't know. But they're two albums in the same, they're two cassettes in the same album, and he'd only done it on this one. But it's quite nice to work out why he'd done it. But that's it for another video. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Right, this is take about 50. I am so out of practice on these videos.